Welcome to another episode of Excellence in Customer Engagement. I am Christine George, and my passion for customer service began at the age of 5. Growing up in our family's diner, a hallmark of Cleveland, Ohio, named Big Gus Quick Shake, my only job was to ensure that the customers were smiling. This podcast is dedicated to servant leaders who shine their light daily, those who lead by example, customer service professionals who welcome the world with open arms, serve up kindness and connection on a silver platter, and who cherish humanity in a way that is unique and deeply inspiring. Today, we take a journey where love, humility, tenacity, and customer-centric food become legendary. Let's experience and learn from the pure essence of this great legacy. It is truly my honor to welcome today's guests, Tommy and Cindy Fello of the iconic Tommy's Restaurant in Coventry Village of Cleveland Heights, Ohio, since 1972. Tommy and Cindy, thank you for extending your time and hearts today as we open the door to your extraordinary love story. Let's begin with the story of resilience and navigational brilliance through one of the toughest times in recent history. This exemplifies the polarity of your light in the darkness. So my first question to you today, Tommy, is how did you pivot and continue to offer your signature welcome, your gift of service, and that light-filled presence, even when the world felt so heavy and dark?
Well, thank you, Christine, for having me and Cindy involved in this wonderful project. And I'm honored to be here with you, and Cindy is honored to be here as well. And I thank you for these questions and the opportunity to voice what has happened, because that time, the COVID time, when you're a small business, a lot of times what happens, you have all these different things that happen throughout your career. And during COVID was probably the greatest challenge I've ever had in my 53 years of being in business. The unfortunate forced closure of all businesses in Ohio for almost a month and a half really scared the bejeebas out of me, because at that time I had 66 employees to take care of, make sure they're still in good shape, and then also to maneuver around all the obstacles of trying to order food, trying to order goods to be able to do what you're going to do once you get it back open. Because for a while there was a question whether, when and how soon we'd be able to get open, and if so, would we be able to have dine-in, which he ended up not being able to do when we first opened. So pivoting, what we had to do is everybody, Cindy, my whole family, and all the people that worked there, had to figure out how we were going to go from 95% in-house dining and 5% to go to a completely closed down 100% takeout. That is a specific, different business. It was almost like starting a new business, because everything is so different when you're doing completely carry out. And so we had to maneuver that way too. So it was the most challenging time. I honestly wasn't sure if we were going to make it through that time. And we almost did close for good until things blew over. And there's some other opportunities that we'll probably talk about later on in the interview about how we were able to stay open and keep a skeleton crew to do the hours and make sure we had enough cash flow to pay people. And the challenges that were created because of COVID, employees being afraid to come back to work, which you can't blame them. Us as people came in, take their temperatures, log it, send people home if they had a temperature or were feeling good, try to make the shifts work. So there's all these new challenges that were a whole special obstacle in the way of running a business.
That's well orchestrated, Tommy, and you need to pivot, uh, think on your feet, if you will, right?
Yes.
That's uh, that's leadership in its purest form.
Well, the nicest part, how it's always been from the get-go in 72, we relied not only on my family, but we relied on the family of people that worked with me and also the customers. They pretty much dictated when we were going to open up. After the month and a half of closure, we asked our customers on a survey, would you feel comfortable coming in to eat inside as opposed to just getting carry out? Because we wanted to get people back to work, but at the same time, we couldn't afford to waste any sort of money on wages if no one was going to come in.
Right.
So luckily, our crew and my family and the neighborhood steered us in the right direction to say what they were comfortable with and what they weren't. So once again, listen to what your heartbeat of your business is telling you, your customers and your employees and your family. We were able to navigate through it.
Yeah, and this is how you work, Tommy. It's so obvious. It's ear to the ground, and every customer that enters your restaurant is understood, is seen and understood.
Well, you want them to feel as comfortable as possible. And what helps that happen is that just like in anything that you do in life, if you really enjoy what you're doing, it's easy to do these things. It's easy to be a nice person. It's easy to be listening to people and getting their ideas. And as we'll talk later on, basically our whole menu is created by the people that were coming into the restaurant. All the names on our menus, over 100 some names, are all the people that ate the sandwiches first, and they went on to do, some of them do very famous things, some of them just to be regular run-of-the-mill people like us. But the deal is that it's all about listening what the wants and needs of your customers want to be, make them happy and comfortable.
Very well said and profound, Tommy. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Mhm. Speaking of legacy, take us to the beginning. What inspired you to take the reins of Tommy's? I believe you were just 17 years old.
Yep, I was 17 and had just finished high school. Let's take it back a little bit further. At 14, I started working at a drugstore, which at that location later became Tommy's, but it was just a 7-seat soda fountain with patent medicine, cigarettes, beer and wine, school supplies, all that stuff a regular mom and pop drugstore used to have. So I started working there making milkshakes the same way we make them today. The only thing that's different about it is we had to switch dairies, went to Hartzler, which is a organic milk provider for us, and because the other dairy went out of business. But the same ice cream Pierre's out of Cleveland, Ohio, a high quality, locally owned company. And so we're still making shakes the same way. But when I was 14, that was my job. I was making milkshakes and being a soda jerk is what they called them. And people say, why were you called a soda jerk? And I said, well, there is if you ever look at the old pictures and the old movies of a soda fountain, there's a little jet stream. It's a black handled stainless steel soda water dispenser. If you pushed it one way, you would get like a regular fountain of water coming out like you would for a faucet. But if you pushed it the other way, you get a jet stream to stir the chocolate and the milk and the root beer or the cherry in with the soda water to make ice cream soda. So they'd say you jerk that faucet. That's where the name soda jerk came from. So that was my job when I was 14, worked through 3 different owners. And back then, there was no, there's no microwaves, no nothing. It was just really the beginning stages of things that you learned in the restaurant industry and even for home cooking and stuff. So what we had was to cook any sandwiches we had what almost looked like a Betty Crocker oven, had 2 light bulbs at the top and 2 light bulbs at the bottom. And you put your sandwich in there But the sandwiches, since we didn't have a grill or anything, we never had a grill then, were really horrible sandwiches. They're like the burger was already cooked and the bun was in it with it in the cellophane wrap. And you'd stick this burger into the Betty Crocker oven, I'm going to call it, and it would just burn the cellophane off and heat up the burger. Because remember, there's no microwave. You couldn't do it in the microwave, nor that you probably would want to anyways. But the deal is that that's how you cook things. And you take that thing, pick off the burned cellophane, put it on a plate with some pickles and serve it. Well, the last person I worked for, whose name was Fauzi Sadie, was from Lebanon. And he had decided that he had done his time running the drugstore and he wanted to go back to Lebanon. He missed his family and stuff. And at that age, I was just finishing high school. And I did go to 9 months of computer programming school at ICM, which was down by the Cleveland State. But the whole time I was down there, I was selling sandwiches because they didn't have a cafeteria. So what I did is we only had 12 people in our class, and I take their orders and bring down what they wanted, so they have something to eat while we're in class. And that's what sparked me to say, you know what, I really like this better than punching time cards and computer cards to lay out a program. I was getting much more gratitude or joy out of life watching people eat something they hadn't eaten before. Because what happened was we always had great milkshakes, and people would come to the drugstore to get a milkshake. And one time Fauzi was eating his sandwich that his wife Helen had brought down to him because he didn't eat the food that we served. And they said, "What's Fauzi eating?" It was either a bowl of hummus or a spinach pie or maybe something else. And they said, "Well, why aren't you serving that instead of this stuff?" So I said to Fauzi, I think we should start trying to sell these things. And sure enough, he agreed. And shortly after that, I had saved up some money from high school and purchased a little drugstore for $6,000. Part of that purchase price, that they showed me how to make some Middle Eastern food, which just happened to be vegetarian also.
Oh my goodness.
So at that time, we had great milkshakes, and we had a bunch of hippies coming in, and they were all interested in being vegetarian. So at that time, there was no place to get a vegetarian sandwich unless you wanted a salad. And so we started serving some of these items, and gradually that became our menu. And once I took over the little drugstore, I was a one-man show. Basically, I worked from 7 a.m. till midnight, 6 days a week. And at that time, there was a blue law where you weren't allowed to open on Sundays. Oh. So I would just play baseball on Sundays and go back to work on Monday. But with the 7 seats, I was basically a one-man show. I had to take the orders, make the food, wash the dishes, take the cash, the whole spiel, and which I really, really loved. But when someone would come in and say, "Hey, I'd like to have a falafel with Munster cheese, sesame, sprouts, peppers, and tomatoes," rather than write that all down, Ed Zink, I just wrote down his initials, EZ. As you go through the menu, you'll see that all those names on the menu, when someone orders something today, I really don't see that sandwich. I see the person that originally ordered it because they're near and dear to my heart. And those people are all over the world now, but I still see them as the young people that used to come in and order food. Many of them are in their 80s now. Some of them moved on to a better life in heaven. But all the while, that became the heartthrob of my business. And what it did is help me to make all these different sandwiches. And that's where we got our start at.
Isn't that something? That's truly understanding your customer.
Yeah. I tell the kids when I go to the high school sometime to talk to the business classes and stuff, because I think it's important to give back to the community, and we always have. But when I go back and I said, when Fauzi used to eat the falafel sandwiches, the guy that previously owned the drugstore, he would like to traditionally they'd have the falafel, which is a fried bean cake with sesame, and he'd have pickled veggies on it. He'd have a big jar of pickled cabbage that he would take out and drain a little bit and put onto a sandwich. Now when Ed Zink or Jesse and Jason, the JJ special, came in and wanted to have cheese and seeds and all these other things put on it, I could have said to them, no, you have to, traditionally it's served with pickled vegetables, and that's how I'm going to serve it. And I wouldn't probably be in business today. But just by some quirk, because like I didn't know what was going on. I was only just turned 18 and trying to run a small little drugstore soda fountain. And I wanted to do what my customers wanted. And luckily, I was gifted to be able to understand that if you give the customers what they want and they like it, they are going to come back. And that's always been a motto of mine, to make sure that you listen to what the wants and needs are the customers. And if it's different than what you want, it doesn't really matter, as long as it's something that's good for them and good, and they like to eat it and like to have it. Because really, over the years, I think that's what kept me in business over these years.
The customer truly lights the way, don't they?
Absolutely. And if you're open enough to listen, they'll lead you and make sure that you're successful. And really, I had no reason to be successful in this business because I really didn't know what I was doing. But they guided me. Hey, can you make us a yogurt shake? Well, let's see. How are we going to do that? Well, they showed me, and I worked with them. And now people were not only just getting the regular milkshakes, they're getting yogurt shakes. And as time progressed and more allergies happened, people couldn't have regular milkshakes. We started doing tofuti shakes and rice shakes and oat shakes, all to make sure the customers get what they want. And I think that's so important, to be able to go with the flow and listen to your customers, what their wants and needs are. And if you're able to do it, there's no reason on earth not to do it, because it's in everybody's best interest.
Absolutely. That's a win-win.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's what shaped your legacy, obvious.
Very fortunate, yes. Because really, talk about grassroots, I didn't know what I was doing. And the fact of the matter that starting from, if I had started, like right now we have 125 seats and a lot of employees. Back then it was just me and a couple other people. And the deal is that had I started out with 125 seats, I never would have made it, because I didn't know what I was doing. And there's so many complex things that happen in a restaurant, or any business really, but especially a restaurant. And being able to learn by my mistakes. When I give the talks at the schools, I'm asked, did I go to college? I said, unfortunately, I didn't have that opportunity, but I went to the school of hard knocks. And I got my degree by making tons and tons of mistakes. And luckily, I was able to, because I was young and resilient and still living at home, by the way, didn't have a family to support. Well, the deal is that I was able to make those mistakes and learn from them and still stay in business with the support of the neighborhood.
And then rolling right into the neighborhood, what does Coventry Road mean to you? And how has Coventry Road shaped your journey?
Oh my God. Well, Coventry Road is a huge part of my livelihood, my life, my love. Really, so many things happened in my young business life. We had a fire that wiped out our whole store, and not knowing about insurance, when you're little, when you're like 18 years old, you think, well, I have insurance. Well, insurance isn't always on your side. The commercials, even though they say insurance is by your side, unfortunately, it doesn't really happen that way in the real world. I think after the first fire, we got paid 20 cents on the dollar. So basically you had 80% of the money that you lost, you had to make up other ways. And I didn't have a big bank account or anything. So what happened? All the people in the neighborhood came and they put my place back together. They painted, they carpentered. The one musician, Alex Bevan, came and played music for everybody. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in business. So that's what I take near and dear to my heart. And people say, why do you volunteer to do so much on the street, to offer your time? I said, well, it's just, you become a part of, we call it the village, Coventry Village, and you become a part of it. And it's so near and dear to your heart. But the neighborhood adopted me, and I will forever be in their debt and love the area that I'm in.
That's so beautiful. Isn't that just beautiful?
It's amazing.
What you've given to your community came back to you tenfold, Tommy, and that's what we're taught.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just like, and it was so natural and so, not orchestrated. It was just flying by the seat of your pants, and the love of the neighborhood really conquered everything and just guided me. Like, they were my teachers, they were my assistants. And then also with my family, Cindy and them, always being there to support me, to bounce ideas out. Because I met Cindy while we worked together at the very first location. That's how we met. And
Oh,
we fell in love working together.
oh, and where was the first location, Tom?
Right up the street on Coventry. The address was Euclid Heights Boulevard, but it was on the corner of Coventry and Euclid Heights. We were still part of the district, but I was right at the top of the street, the southernmost corner of the street. And that's where we grew and experienced the fire. We lost our lease in 77, and we moved down the street and reopened after tons of construction, going from the 7-seat soda fountain, plus we added a few tables. So maybe, let's say 7, maybe 14 to 18 table seats. I mean, we moved down the street in 78, did a bunch of construction, and reopened in a beautiful new spot that was able to seat 87 people. So once again, the neighborhood came through to help me grow and understand what I'm supposed to be doing to be in business, and supported me the whole way.
Beautiful. And so Cindy was working along your side from the very beginning.
Absolutely. She came on board maybe in 1974. Her sister Lisa was actually the first person that helped me from her family, and then her sister Barbara, and then Cindy also helped. And then Cindy and I became, we just got together and we loved each other's energies, and the rest is history.
When you enter Tommy's now, so that is the location forever, right? This is since 1978. We've been in the same.
Well, I should tell you some more. In 1988, there was another devastating fire that wiped out our dining room all the way down to the corner where a drugstore. So half a block was wiped out in a fire in 88.
Oh my goodness.
So at that time, I still, when you talk about insurance companies, if there's a way, they will pay you the least amount of money. I think I was lucky enough to get like 56 cents on the dollar out of that fire.
Wow.
And I need to say that both the fires were not started in my restaurant. Typically people say, well, they had a fire in their restaurant. This is not what happened. What happened was it started in other places and spread to my one on the corner of Coventry and Euclid Heights. And then this one actually started in a waterbed store that wiped out the whole half a block.
Oh my God.
So it's just crazy. So you have to go with the flow. So what we ended up doing was all the merchants got together that were in the block, and we formed like I guess a partnership, you would call it. We all put money into a pot with the help of the city of Cleveland Heights and some banks. We were able to purchase the building, and each of us took our location in that block and moved in, redecorated, expanded in my case. So now that's in 1992, we were reopened in our location that we're at now, which was right next door to where the waterbed fire had taken us out. So lots of steps, but we always wanted to be on Coventry because the neighborhood was just, it was like a love affair, really. And the deal is, it's just, they always were there for me, no matter people moved away. Before the internet, people would come when they came back to visit. they'd come to Tommy's to say, hey, have you seen so and so or this person? And if I had heard, I said, oh yeah, Frank's running a restaurant in New York, or Frank's working out on the kibbutz in Israel or whatever. But the deal is that there wasn't this connectivity except for in person. And just as when it comes down to getting the respect of the people that you're serving. Now, I think I'd said earlier, the vegetarian food and a separate place for cooking the meat sandwiches. So people knew from the get-go that Tommy respected their wishes and desires as far as, I don't want to eat meat. I don't want any meat juices around my food. Just the fact that they knew, they spread that word. Not like today where you can push a button and a million people know. This was like word of mouth over the years. Hey, you want some good vegetarian food? That's the place to go. And luckily, in one way, selfishly on my part, there wasn't any competition really. First of all, a lot of the food we were serving were sort of unheard of. And second of all, even if you want something vegetarian, there was not another place except for if you wanted to get a salad where you could go get something to eat. So we lucked out in many, many forms. Like I said, it was all organically grown, growth of my business through the help of the neighborhood and the dictation by what customers wanted to eat for their health. So when you look at it, our restaurant has had the same menu since 1972. We have added other things as different things happen in the food industry. Like we added, at one time we added tempeh and tofu and seitan, all meat substitutes. Yeah. Now we had things with TVP, and I stated before, as when the milkshakes became less popular to so many people who are lactose intolerant, we didn't just say, well, that's tough, you have to have these. No, we found a way to get them as close to what they wanted before, so they could keep their memories and keep their coming in to not only support me, but get something that they really couldn't get anywhere else.
Yeah. I would say Tommy's is where food is love.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, because really we basically make everything from scratch. And our French onion soup, we boil a lot of chickpeas every single day to make our own hummus. We don't buy it in a can or anything. Everything's made from scratch. And then that juice, all the flavor, all the water from boiling those chickpeas, we use to make all our soups. Oh. And it's the basis for our vegetarian French onion soup. Because I always wanted to have French onion on my menu, but at that time I wasn't eating any meat at all. And so we wanted to have a French onion soup that a vegetarian could come and have and enjoy. And we were able to find out, with the help of Christine Rowland, a young lady that worked with me. Once again, I'm learning from the people I'm working with. I'm not dictating to them, hey, here's how we're going to do this. I ask for ideas from them. Because really, remember, I didn't know what I was doing. I was learning on the fly. So people that I experienced and encountered through my life have taught me many, many lessons. And for the French onion soup, for example, we were able to make a hearty soup base with shiitake mushrooms instead of a beef stock. And as we graduated into more allergies and stuff, if people couldn't have bread, we would toast rice bread and put it into it. And if they couldn't have cheese, we get them vegan cheese to put it on the top. Everything is going with the flow of what the customers are dictating. And that's probably the only reason I think I'm still in business today.
The community belongs to the community, and the community shaped the journey and continues to.
Absolutely, no doubt in my mind.
Now, I know that when I walk into Tommy's restaurant, the first thing I see, well, first I'm greeted with such grace, and I feel like I'm at home and I belong.
I'm happy to hear that.
Number two is that I resonate with the art that fills the restaurant, and every corner of the restaurant. The art is so fantastic, and I understand this is Cindy's art. It's incredibly brilliant.
Well, yeah, it's a great thing. It's like Well, we started, I kept encouraging Cindy because, she was sort of a bashful artist, not thinking that it was, anything that could be popular. And I said, people will love it because the love that you put in it, in your artwork, will really show through, and the people will love it. And to date, she has sold the most artwork of any other artist at shows, because before she started displaying her art, we have an opening for all artists in the area. If they're interested in hanging artwork, they are responsible for hanging it. And I don't take any commission from it. I'm happy that I have a change of decor every once in a while. And also, it's different. There's so many different tastes of artwork that people can display. And fortunately, and I feel the same way, is that Cindy's was the most popular. And I think that she hits on so many different things in her art that really attracts people, and people are drawn to it. And when they're sitting there waiting for their food and they see it, they are welcome the fact of coming on in and purchasing the art and supporting Cindy.
Absolutely. The art speaks to me. I mean, every single piece resonates on a different level. And what is so beautiful about Cindy's artwork is that it can be customized and gifted to a loved one.
Oh, yeah, you're right. She does that so often, where people are saying, "Oh, my favorite thing is these artists, musicians from a certain era," and she sure enough works right on it to make that personalized for that individual, or for a wedding, or for a birthday, or someone that's into horses or whatever. It's just, she has a knack for just being able to just draw those things from her multitude of investigations and makes it into the most beautiful piece of meaningful artwork to that individual. And I think she just has a God-gifted talent. And I always call her Mother Nature, because people come to her and talk to her about stuff, and her artwork reflects her love and genuine personality, and people are drawn to that just naturally. And she loves to be able to deliver that to them, and she's so proud of it.
Well, what a beautiful space you've both created. And it's rare to see a type of space where both love and art are served along delightful dishes of nourishing food that, I mean, the whole experience is really customized. You would have to.
That's a great way to put it. I appreciate the way you said that, because really, the whole thing about food and art, you know, a lot of people, I tell the kids when they're cooking and they're making sandwiches, usually I'm working right with them. Well, until I had my stroke recently. But the deal is that I'm working right with them on the line, trying to set the example. And then when I show them, I said, you want people to eat this with their eyes before they put a spoonful in their mouth. And the whole idea with Cindy's artwork is you are drawn to it because, especially for the specialty items, or even when it comes to love and musicians and all the different things she brings to heart and brings to the canvas, people see that and they are just absorbed by it, and they have to get it because they want to be a part of their house or their life.
Exactly. Exactly. What a beautiful way to wake up in the morning to something that a piece of artwork that resonates with you. And the beautiful part, again, is that it is customizable and it's any size that you want. I
Oh yeah.
personally fill my own walls with artwork.
That's sweet.
My home feels like Tommy's restaurant.
That's a real compliment. Thank you.
I wish I could make the food to match.
You're so kind. Thank you.
Oh, of course. And so tell me, what is your philosophy? You've shared much about your philosophy on customer service. I mean, it is really community centric. But how do you train your staff to uphold that level of care?
That is probably the most difficult thing in a way. And then I always try to do it through example. And I always try to make sure when interacting with a customer, especially in front of the young people that work with me over the years, uh, of how to treat them. And it's just like the Bible says, treat people like you would like to be treated. And it's the same way for business. I'm sure many people have gone to businesses before where they walk in and someone is rude to them or cold to them. It really has nothing to do with the people that own the place, but that business or that restaurant is automatically attached to the behaviors of that individual. Well, it was very easy to control that when you had 7 employees. It gets much, much harder when you get up in the 60s and 50s and 60s of how many people you have working.
Goodness.
But I think it's always worked for me. And of course, sometimes it will not work on a few individuals and they can move on to some other things in their life. But on the most part, I pride myself in the fact that we have so many people that have worked with me for so many years, and I feel very comfortable with them on how they're going to treat the customers. We basically, from the get-go in the 70s, we had so much food that was unheard of at that time. It wasn't mainstream as a lot of it is today. And I tell the people, you want to try something new? Go ahead and try it. If you don't like it, I'll make you something else. Don't worry, I'll eat it for my lunch. Go ahead, try it. And so that's how we developed loyalty and repeat business from people, because they weren't afraid to say, I didn't really care for this. Thank God it didn't happen too much, but go ahead and try it. Don't be afraid to try it. It's different. You might like something you have never tried before. And interacting with the customers and letting them know to feel comfortable to tell me what they liked or did not like. And usually I'm on an open cooking area where the people can come up to me, and my cohorts, the other people working with me, can hear my interaction with them. And it isn't like I'm taking them to school, but in a way it is. I'm showing them how to treat people. Someone saying, I didn't really like this, or I didn't want this. This doesn't taste the same as it normally does. Well, great. Thank you for letting me know. Let me see. Let me get you something else. Or, wow, I know you're a regular customer. What didn't taste right to you, or whatever? You listen to your customers and they will guide you and they lead you. And a lot of times you learn so much from them that makes you reshape or rethink how you do things. And so I think the value in listening to your customers and then also listening to your employees on some of their wants and needs, because a lot of times you get busy doing stuff and you overlook things. But having an open door policy to come and say, or just step up to me and say, you know what, I'm not sure why we're doing it this way. How about if we tried this? And if I haven't already tried it before, and I think it might work, that's how we learned to be in business today. But I don't just tell them, oh, I've tried that before, it doesn't work, that was a stupid idea. No, you don't say that. You welcome it. Even if you've heard it 100 times, you answer it and welcome it like it's their very first time that you heard it. Not to be fake, but to encourage the comfort ability of someone coming up to you to say, this is something that, would you like to try this? And it's important for them to know if I had tried it and it didn't work, not just say it didn't work, so that's why we do it. We explain why it didn't work. I think that's so important because they're learning as you're learning. And that open door policy is so important that's how you grow your business.
Yes, and that's your authentic leadership. So your authenticity is what? Is welcoming the authenticity of others in your staff, in your customers.
Well put, yes.
So that develops the trust in you to say, to be able to tell you what is on their mind so that they help you help them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a great way to put it. Very well said.
It's timeless wisdom, Tommy. Thank you so much.
I'm very fortunate to have fallen into something that I really love and adored at a very early age. And that has helped me, just like with any, is every day I'll stroll in the park? Absolutely not. Especially in the restaurant industry, there's always something breaking or something not working or someone unable to show up because they don't feel good or something. And it's very easy to get down and get upset. And I'm sure I know there's days that I had done that. But that's where family comes in. And I think that Cindy, as she took care of our 14 grandkids and my 5 girls that we had, all of that was a main job that I could never have done, and also run the restaurant. So we worked as a team. When the times that she could not come in to do stuff, she did stuff at home. And then also when I would come home from a hard day's work, she was there, and I bend her ear on, things that went wrong, or what do you think about this idea, or did you know this happened? And it was like it just meshed. And it was like a perfect storm as far as being able to her take care of me and help me along, because really without her I would be out of business today.
So beautiful. It's so beautiful. Can,
Thank you.
can you recall a customer moment that moved you? Something small, perhaps, that it reminded you of why you do this.
Oh, absolutely. There's a ton of them over the years, but I can tell you one that's near and dear to my heart. This was maybe September of 2018. A customer came up to me and said to me, "Tommy, do you remember Emily Pomerantz, who used to come in with her family? She lived in Shaker Heights. Well, she's in Baltimore. She lives in Baltimore now, but unfortunately she has stage 4 cancer."
Oh,
And he said, I asked her what would she like to have to remind her of Cleveland. She said, "I'd like to have a Cleveland Indians hat." At that time, they're still called the Indians. And
yeah.
I'd love to have a Tommy's Mocha milkshake. So he said that to Tommy, "Can we get a mocha milkshake to her?" And I'm saying, "Boy, I don't know." I said, "Boy, I'd love to do it. I don't know how I'll do it." So I started investigating how to ship it, how to get it to her. And we were able, after a couple of tries, to get it overnighted to her in some dry ice, so that the next thing you know, on the cover of the Baltimore newspaper, there's a gigantic picture of Emily drinking that milkshake. And that story went viral. I had people actually calling me, not emailing, we got tons of emails, but actually calling me from Germany, the Netherlands, you name it, all across the world, just to say thank you for doing that. And so many times when you have people that are sick or are in a need for something, and you want to be able to do something. And in this situation, this very simple task that I did out of love really made her day. Shortly after, she unfortunately died.
That was her, that was her wish. You
Yeah.
to facilitate that, which is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. And again, that brings you back and reminds you why you started this at 17 years old. Maybe you didn't know it at the time, but this was your purpose, Tommy. This is your life.
Yeah.
You continue to shine this light throughout the community and obviously with this story around the world. So that's a
Yeah,
true.
that's the one that really sticks out in my mind, where you don't realize what a small act of kindness can do for people.
Yeah, yeah, it's truly your food is love. I mean, there's a perfect example right there. Uh,
Absolutely.
that's so beyond special, and I am so honored to be able to share this with the world. Truly.
Boy, I'm honored that you thought of us to talk to us about it, because I love sharing my story, and hopefully it'll help other people to learn how you don't have to start at the top of the hill. You can start at the bottom and work your way up. But through some of the things that you learn from this interview and other things that you learn, you're able to continue and stay in business and find something that you really care and that it draws your heart from your heart and your soul. It can't be just about money. It can't be just about hard work. It can't be just about good food. It has to be the whole picture.
Yeah. Well, your focus was people, always people first.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Because without them, whether it's someone that works with you for over 30 years and guides other new people to do things the way I want them to do because they've learned and they have accepted it, or the customers who come back over and over again to support you, and your family standing behind you to make sure that you're good to go. I guess another interesting story is you always are learning. You never stop learning. And I've been in business for 53 years, and you, like I said, you never stop learning. What I learned very valuable to me, I had a stroke on Christmas Day of 2023, and I'm still recovering. But when I was lying in that bed, couldn't move my left arm and my left leg, I'm saying, "Oh my God, I got 50 some people that are counting on me to get back up out of bed and do this."
Yeah. Yeah, that's all you can think when those.
Well, the deal is, because first of all, you want to make sure they're taken care of.
Yeah.
Because they give their life to you.
Yeah. Their family.
Absolutely. So the deal, what I learned how valuable family life really is, the support of my family, whether it's the family on Coventry, the family of workers, or my family, my direct family that all pitched in. Yeah. But since that day of the stroke, I think I've only been at the restaurant 8 times, yet it continues to flourish. And why does it flourish? Not because I did anything. It's because of the people that, even though they're working overloaded at the time of my stroke, picked up my hours and my duties, because I was working 60 hours a week then, picked up my duties and my job and my love for the business and are running with it as we talk today.
Yeah. Well, you see how you just kind of handed the torch. I mean, it's infectious. Your work ethic and your drive to be the servant leader that you are is infectious. And it's clear to see today, while your business is thriving and you're recovering quite well, I may say.
Thank you. Thank you.
That in itself is legendary of what you've overcome and how you are today. Since you say that was 2023 that happened, Tommy?
Yes. Yeah, about 16 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, you're amazing. You're truly amazing.
Thank you. You're so kind. Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I never see that the problem is what happens. You always think, sometimes bad things happen for a reason, for good reasons. I give you an example. We'll go back to my health thing in a minute, but I remember making black bean chili. We have a really good black bean chili we make from scratch.
Yes.
And we make it in 30-quart pots. I make every morning or every other morning as we needed it. One day the health inspector comes in and says, because I had finished cooking it, put it into a big pot, stuck it in the fridge to cool it down. And she walks in, she says, "I just finished making it." She goes, "How long has this been in a cooler?" I said, "It's been in there for about 2 hours." And she goes, "Well, right now it's at this temperature. It has to be down below 40 within 4. If it's not down there, you have to throw this away." And this is how I always been doing it. Never thought about it. But once again, when she told me I had to throw it away, I was like, "Oh my God, I have to remake this stuff, soak the beans and all this stuff." Well, what happened out of that? I went to the restaurant show and I found a quick cool system where you put a gallon of the black bean chili into this heat-proof bag, and then you dump it in an ice bath, and within an hour, it's down below 40 degrees, from boiling to down below 40. Perfect. Then what happens if I need to go on an off-site premises catering thing, or if I need just for daily reheat, I just throw that bag in the steamer and ready to go. The deal is that what I thought was the end of the world became the beginning of a new world. The stroke is the same way. What I thought would be the end of my business became I learned that sure, work 60 hours a week if you want to, if you enjoy it. And then also if there's a need, which there was, but don't be afraid to step back and let people take responsibility for you, because that's what they want to do. They welcomed it, they loved it, and have confidence in the fact that they're able to do it. They may not do it the same way exactly like you do it, and that's something I have to learn to cope with. But if the end result is there, you've you accomplished your mission. You've got the same product, even though it went around maybe a little bit different, but someone through love and sharing of your ideas has been able to keep you in business and keep 54 people employed at this time.
That's it. And new ideas will be born from this.
Absolutely.
Who
You're
knows
absolutely right.
what may come out of this, because you are open to the all of the changes. Think of, you've taken us on a journey of all of the ups and downs and all of the changes, the twists and turns, but they've all been positive. Because why? Because Tommy Fello has the positive outlook and the focus on the people.
Thank you. That's an excellent way to put to look at it. I could be to the point where it's saying, oh my God, why does this happen to me? But that's not going to get you anywhere. The deal is that all these things that have happened through my business career and with my health lately are little new paths on my journey to learn how to cope with things and learn how to grow. And I think it's so important that I'm able to be able to accept that and be able to thrive in a situation where it might not be as positive most people would like to have.
Truly. And you know what I call this, what comes to my mind, Tommy, is you're teaching us how to climb the tree of life.
Interesting way to put it. Yeah, you're right. You got to be careful. The branches are going to break sometimes, but when you're trying to strive to get to the top, having an open mind about it and having a good crew around you and a strong family support and a great neighborhood has really, really helped me to stay in business.
And the ability to have the aerial view. So you have
Good
that
point. Good point.
back and look at the big picture and what is important right now and what is the next step. So Tommy, looking at that aerial view, tell us all of the offerings that Tommy's restaurant today is providing for the community and beyond.
Well, what we do, what we the past year or so, we haven't really done as much, but we've done things over the years. Like Cleveland has the biggest Earth Day, I think, in the nation at the zoo. Have one of the largest Earth Day celebrations. Well, we started when I was really small, providing all the food for the 700 volunteers and taking care of them and just all the different things like that. We like to participate. Or the gigantic playground that was built in the 90s by 400 volunteers on Coventry over a weekend in the pouring rain, and we're supplying food and soup for all those people. And they're just redoing it now. They tore it down to get a fresh new thing, and we're right there with them, supplying food and all that stuff. I think, and it comes down to I'm the head of the maintenance department for the street. I don't. It's a non-paid position, but what happens is I am able to work with individuals that do different things as far as small snow removal, all these different things that they do on the street, and try to make sure that I'm giving back, going to the schools and talking to individuals, having kindergarten classes, and we just had an eighth grade class from uh, from Gilmore come out to talk to me about business and stuff, giving back and sharing whatever knowledge I have for my crazy industry that I'm in, so people can learn and be able to assess what they might like to try to do later on in life, or just see the inner workings, what goes into making a good French fry. Sure, you can buy a frozen product, but we always thought that it's good to start from scratch, start with the potato, hand cut it, soak it, blanch it, store it, portion it out, and then as people order it, cook it for the last time. So there's a lot of things you have to learn, there's a lot of steps. So as many people as I can show these things to, I think that's part of my mission as well. And giving back to the neighborhood is one of the most important things, because we all know businesses that just take and take and take. And believe me, I have taken a lot from the Coventry area as far as being successful and being able to have my family and my family of people that work with me comfortable and be able to thrive in a crazy industry. But I think it's important to also give back and make sure that you nurture that neighborhood, whether it's volunteering on different groups to make sure that the artwork that's brought down into the Coventry district, helping research that and all that. Because you could just sit back and let it happen and complain when you don't like what's going on. But I really feel that being a part of the neighborhood and assisting in what's going on, it gives you an extra special voice to say that you're proud of this or you're proud of that, or I wish we had done this or that. But if you don't speak up, sure, you can take the accolades, but you don't really have skin in the game, I guess you'd call it. And I think it's so important that you learn to participate and give back to the neighborhood.
Yeah, the truly community. You are one with the community, Tommy, and this is why you and your restaurant are so iconic. And when you go into your restaurant today, say you go in there today and you look at the people, the customers, the staff, you feel the energy, the art on the wall. What are you most proud of?
I think I'm most proud of is that when we go back to Emily in Washington getting that shake, I'm so proud to be a part of so many loving people's families and their history and their childhood. And just to hear people in China, working in China, and say, I'm in this high rise, the person above me is from Shaker Heights, and they say they love your restaurant. Well, it's crazy. Or seeing someone's wearing a Tommy's t-shirt in Niagara Falls and them coming back to me saying, hey, you know what I saw? You aren't going to believe what I saw. And all these stories of interaction and love, because it brings people together, which back in the 70s was, we knew as a home base for people coming back in to visit before the internet was big. But then even now, the person from Shaker Heights in China seeing another person with a shirt on and be able to interact with them and share some love and some common stories and about, it sparks memories in many people. And to be a part of that is a real honor.
Truly, truly. Wow, well, my cheeks hurt from smiling, Tommy. I just have to tell you, it's such
I'm so glad to hear that.
it's a beautiful story of love and food, and I don't know what else matters in this world besides love and
But
food.
we need more of love in the world. You're absolutely right.
So tell us your address on Coventry Road.
Sure. My address on Coventry is 1824 Coventry Road, and that's Cleveland Heights 44118.
Okay, truly iconic. And gosh, I think I'll go there this afternoon. I'm so hungry. My
That's so great. I love it.
favorite sandwich is the rip, and
Oh, that's the one.
that I would love.
That's the favorite one.
I would love to hear the story behind that. And also, before we leave today, I want to talk about your cool logo. It's just really
Oh, Flash. Okay. Flash is our onion guy. That was created in the 70s. We had no money for t-shirts, but we did have a bunch of artists. And one of the sandwiches on the menu is PR. That's named after Joey Whitbrook, who is he has a cooking school in San Francisco. But Joey was just a 16 or 17-year-old kid that knew how to silkscreen shirts. And that's why he called the public relations, because what happened, we asked customers to bring their shirts in, then he would silkscreen them and pass them back to them.
oh my
And the logo, Flash, the running onion, that was created by him and also Susan Prendergast, who was another customer artist. we're so blessed that in the Coventry area, there's so many artists that, you could, it's just like they're all over the place and all willing to do stuff and love doing it and love interacting with people. But that's how the t-shirts started getting made. And it's all from the grassroots once again. And as far as the Rip special, that was, I think his last name was Wolin, Eric Wolin. We had a sandwich called the FF, that was just one that uh, Michael DeCorpo made up. It was formaggio funghi, mushrooms and cheese. So that was the FF. And so we made that sandwich for him. And so Eric came in and he goes, I like to have that FF, but can you throw some sunflower seeds and toast them on there? And that's how it got its name. And Rips was near and dear to him. I honestly don't know what the Rips stands for, but it's something that was near and dear to him. So he called it after him. So,
Well, that is my favorite, and I'm gonna go there today.
well, that's the nice thing about it. The deal is that so many people would have it named after their nickname or their dog's name. For example, there was a sign company, Buddy Simon Signs on Carnegie Avenue, that would always have these funny saying when I would drive down to the market in the morning, going down Carnegie to the 40th Street Market to buy my vegetables and my cheeses and stuff. They would always have these cool, funny sayings. And when I was losing my lease in 1977 at the corner store, forcing me to go down the street and open it back up in 1978, he put a little sign on his thing about wishing me the best and taking care. Well, Donovan, who was a famous singer in the 70s, and still people listen to him now. We have a Donovan on our menu, but people always think it's because of the musician. But no, the Simon Sign, Jerry and her sister had a gigantic sheepdog called Donovan. That's what they named the sandwich after. So there's all these little stories behind all the sandwiches. And the main thing was, in a selfish and a need to be, I couldn't write everything down they went on the sandwiches, but I knew them because I took the orders and made the food. Yes. I just write what it's all about. And that became the history of Tommy's.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That deserves a standing ovation.
Sorry about the dog.
Oh, that's
hearing the squirrel out there.
Family, of course.
They're all part of the family.
Thank you so much for your generous time today.
Oh my God, I'm so honored that you approached me and thought it'd be worthy of your podcast, and I appreciate that. And Cindy is here also; she appreciates that. And thank you so very much for including us. Cindy, you want to say something?
Thanks, Christine. That was a good interview.
Well,
I loved it.
You're both so incredible and truly the definition of servant leadership. And that's what makes this world special. So thank you both so much.
And you're very welcome. I think the most important thing is that even though a lot of times Cindy was behind the scenes, you said it earlier in our interview, without her, I probably would not be in business. There's so much strength in her love and her knowledge of what she does and how she approaches people. And it's such a thing that you can't teach that to people. That is something that she is just, as I call it all the time, you're like Mother Earth. You're just good to the soul.
Yes, Cindy, you truly are, and an honor to know you.
Thank you.
I will say you are the wind beneath Tommy's wings.
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
Yes. Well, thank you both so much. Enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you so much.
It's
been a fun talking to you. Love it. Thank you.
Truly delightful. Thank you. Have a great
Bye now.
Here. Wow. We just experienced a profound love story. I think you will agree that Tommy's restaurant in Coventry Village is where food is love. The love story of Tommy and Cindy Fello is one of connection that built family and community, a place where everyone from every walk of life can feel seen, heard, and nourished in body and spirit. Tommy's legacy is of the organic delights, the laughter echoing through the booths, the art hanging on the walls, the welcome that never runs out, and all the acts of service that say, "You belong here." Most profoundly, Tommy teaches us how to climb the tree of life, not for status or show, but to understand, lift others, to reach for meaning, and to plant something that lasts. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Cindy. We are beyond grateful for your example of what it means to serve with heart, to lead with humility, and to love through every plate, every person, every single day. In closing, please see the information in the show notes, including how to experience Tommy's restaurant and Cindy's incredible customizable collage artwork. Thank you for your kind attention today. I am Christine George, and this is Excellence in Customer Engagement.